dreams. New York, big city of dreams.
Woo! Let's go. What's going on? This is Jay Ellis from the Knick of Time Show. Here to give you that Knicks talk just in the nick of time. And man, it is time to talk about a crazy Knicks win. The Knicks were down 19 points and came all the way back to tie the game up in the fourth quarter and win it in overtime. Knicks beat the Heat 116 to 112, and there was contributions from a few places. We had Josh Hart give you 14 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists. OG Anunoby came in big with 23 points, 5 assists, 9 rebounds. Karl Anthony Towns had 19 points, 16 rebounds, and a block. McBride had 12 points and 2 rebounds off the bench. And our captain, man, Jalen Brunson came in guns a-blazing in the second half with 31 points and 6 assists. Let's go. The Knicks, we won that rebounding battle, okay? We got the rebounding battle. We only had, 27 assists in the game, but the Knicks still end up prevailing after being down by 19 with some clutch baskets, some great defense, and some good team play with adjustments by our very own Tom Thibodeau. And we're going to talk about it all. All right? We're going to talk about it all, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But before we talk about it all, I'm going to just introduce you to my guy. First and foremost, it is the Latin assassin, my guy, ESPN contributor, Posting Toasting contributor, Bleacher Report contributor, Lee Escobedo. What's good, my guy? Lee.
What is good, KOT family? I am really starting to fall in love with this Knicks team. This was a 2023-2024 season win. We got it in the gutter, and we got a really grimy, defensive-oriented win. This was one of the best defensive games from OG Anunoby we've seen in an orange and blue jersey. I would give him game ball. Not just for his offensive output, which was phenomenal tonight. Really, I love the volume shooting from 3. Love the shot selection. Most of all, though, it was on the defensive side, taking on every assignment we needed and really coming up with a full arsenal of defensive tactics and moves. Shout out OG Anunoby.
Absolutely, man. OG Anunoby came up big. He's looking like the guy that we signed last year who helped us propel and decimate teams for the second half of the season last season. And in that little playoff run. All right. Of course, you already know. I'm not sure if she's ready yet. But we also have our ex-D1 baller joining us. She's rocking the jacket. Whenever, for guys, people who don't know, now there's women on the panel. So shout out to Felicia and Glamour. For the people who don't know, when Ebony is rocking the blue and black jacket, Knicks jacket, she's happy, all right? That's how I know she's feeling the win, and it's not just we beat a small team and we could have done better. No, she's liking this win, so that's how I know what type of mood she's in. So I'm gonna introduce you to our girl, our woman, XD1 baller, Ebony. What's going on, Ebony?
I'm good. It feeling more and more like our Knicks. The will to win, to find a way, to even the ugly games, to never quit. These are things that we've seen a lot last year. Having somebody as clutch as Jalen Brunson, that as long as you keep it close, you feel like you have a shot.
Yeah,
that's something new. Also, as a Knicks fan, but I'm loving that. I'm so loving it. Just our team came. It was a team game. Everybody pulled their weight sometime during this game. More others more than than us. We'll talk about that. I'm pretty sure. But it was just a good feel win. We needed it. It looked ugly, real ugly. I had posted on Twitter. I was watching the game with my guy. But he went to Miami. He showed out that second half. I can't wait to break this game down. It was a lot to talk about this game, actually.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, if you're new to the channel, all right, Ebony calls Tom Thibodeau Mr. Potato Head. So when she said she was watching the game with her guy, what she's saying is Tibbs was not coaching in the first half whatsoever. She was home. She was in Brooklyn with Ebony, watching the game.
Chilling here with me. He left though second half.
Yeah, but second half he checked in. I think Rick Brunson was coaching the first half. Second half is time to. So let's just get to it, man. First of all, where would we be without Jalen Brunson? Nowhere at all. Top 3 clutch player in this game. Put the team on his back. Was really had like 7 points in the first half, and all of a sudden just figured out what they were doing to him. It was a combination of Jalen Brunson, the coaching, the chess moves that was happening that helped Jalen Brunson kind of get open and get a lot more on one-on-one looks as the game got on. Shout out to the Heat defenders, do a really good job. They come in droves from Mitchell to Highsmith to Ware. They have a lot of talented defenders that held the Knicks to 40 points in the first half. But man, the Knicks turned it on, led by Jalen Brunson in the second half. It got to a point where we knew the bucket was coming and we knew he was going to make it. It just didn't matter. It's like, okay, if Jalen Brunson gets within 7 feet, it's good. Like, I don't care how many people you throw at him, how many hands are up or whatever, it's good. And he hits you with the head fakes, the up and unders, the fadeaways, hits you with everything and the kitchen sink. And we needed all of it to go into overtime. So game ball goes to OG for sure, but I have to start out by talking about the captain, Jalen Brunson. Big shot Brunson, I like to call him, and people are starting to call him Captain Crunch Time. So shout out to Jalen
Brunson. We could have been born in any era, in any year, and the three of us are blessed to be born in a time where we need to root for the Knicks, and Jalen Brunson is our captain. There's no doubt about it. I tweeted last game with almost 3 minutes left that I thought Jalen Brunson was going to win Clutch Player of the Year, and I'm so thrilled that he has finally really found that balance, that true superstar balance, to know when to go full ISO and go get his bucket or draw a foul, or when to facilitate and be the playmaker and set somebody else up. And we've seen 2 versions of that in the last 2 games of him really mastering. It's a very, very hard line to toe. Many players have struggled, even guys who have won MVP, like Russell Westbrook, historically struggled to find that balance between being the guy who takes over and being the guy who makes others better. Stephon Marbury, to me, was his biggest flaw here in New York. He'd go out and get his own shot, but he really struggled to get other guys involved, or he would pass too much and then defer too much and not go after his own shot as well. So we were very lucky that Jalen Brunson has figured the game out. I think it's the pace that he's playing at shows that he is in command of it. He's learned to really use time and use space and use his entire bag, which is deeper than any was in the NBA, besides maybe Joker or Embiid, of footwork, counters, and counters to counters, jab steps, pump fakes to get his shot against anybody and against a smattering of different players, as you mentioned, but also a smattering of different coverages. That second half, Eric Spoelstra threw out everything in the kitchen sink against Jalen Brunson, and he was able to deconstruct every single defense coverage that was thrown at him. Not only was he able to do it, he was getting his guys involved and doing it under high-pressure situations where he was hitting unbelievably clutch shots in really difficult capacities in very tough spaces on the floor. So shout out. We are so blessed to have Jalen Brunson, because it allows us for nights where Mikal Bridges is our third best scorer, completely benched in the fourth, and Karl-Anthony Towns completely useless on the offensive end and defensive end tonight. Great rebounding game, but offensively awful. Jalen Brunson was able to bring us home for the win. A gritty win at that.
Mm-hmm.
Facts on facts. Speaking of facts, Jalen Brunson, I have given him, much flack about his defense during the this season, the first half of the season, if you want to call it. But I've seen him make a tremendous effort lately, like locked in on that end extremely. So that to me is really important, because you ask your superstar, they talk about top 5 in the league if they're guarding in their positions, and he hears that, obviously, and he's taking that personally. One of the things that I liked, and again, Thibodeau did his thing, was that we doubled a star and didn't leave Jalen Brunson on a mismatch or on an island. We literally actually doubled somebody to get the ball out their hand and allowed the others to have to beat us.
Yep.
Something we've been asking for forever. But I just want to give JB credit in that nation because he was doing that all game. He has been doing that the last couple of games where he hedges very hard and high, pause, and he's very aggressive enough to get the defense to pause enough to help, enough for Mikal or OG to recover and take their man back. So again, I see the effort on his end, his offense, like Lee just mentioned, he's definitely finding that balance. I've also asked him to trust his teammates, and again, for another game, it didn't go in this time. It might have been a little bit of grenade, just a little bit. But I respect him passing it this time to Mikal again, trusting his teammates at the end of the game. That speaks volumes. That shows actions speak louder than words. That shows that he is trusting more in his teammates, complete trust in his team. So I'm loving the growth. And again, he's young. I keep saying JB is still very young, so he has to learn too. So he's continuing to grow, and we've come a long way of the turnstile point guard to finally having our captain at that be a point guard, a clutch point guard that could get his own bucket. Like this is when you say all this as a Knick player, it don't even feel real still. You've been on our team for a minute, it still doesn't feel real. So shout out to Jalen Brunson playing some good basketball on both ends.
And it's like there was some plays that stood out to me, like the offensive foul that he drew from Davion Mitchell. Just by it wasn't like an offensive foul where he's like, I'm getting to the spot and planting my feet. No, it was like I'm shuffling my feet side to side and I beat you to the spot. That's a whole different caliber of offensive foul. It's like that's just sliding your puppies type of defense. I really like that. That switch that you mentioned where they doubled Hero and left I think Highsmith open for three. That was a good switch, a good decision by the Knicks to kind of double the guy who was hot and leave the struggling guy open. That was a huge play for us defensively. And Jalen Brunson for the last month, he's just been really good defensively and just kind of tickering up and up and up, improving his game on that side of the ball.
Yeah, facts. And I just want to say, Rick, before we move off the JB conversation, I know probably that we also did it again with Bam. We like right after the Hero, we did it again with Bam. We doubled Bam and made him pass it out to Mitchell for three.
Yeah.
So like it was a recurrent thing, especially in that second half. It was very like, okay, that was new. We normally don't do stuff like that. And it's avoiding that. Us doing that is avoiding many mismatches, and also we don't have like mismatches, and it also helps for our defense on the recovery. You don't have to do the chicken with the head cut off vibes. Because if I just stunt hard enough, pause, and you come recover and I go back to my man, that limits the whole chain reaction, which I've noticed is our issue, y'all.
Right.
Our helpers to the help are slow a lot of times. You get what I'm saying? Like the help to our help. So once we have the initial help to come, that much is pretty good. The person that's supposed to cover the help man, that's non-existent a lot of times in our defense. So that in order for us to be on a string, we need to fix that. And I don't want to single the guy out, but a lot of times that help of the helper is Cat.
Listen, we're gonna get to him. Trust me. We are getting to him. I just know there's a lot of good that happened, and we won the game, so I'm gonna get to him a little bit later. I'm gonna talk about the good stuff first, so you guys can enjoy the show. All right. And I'm gonna lead into OG Anunoby because you started off with OG Anunoby and the defense. Lee led talking about OG Anunoby's offense and defense. One of the best two-way games he's had this season. This is the OG Anunoby that we was kind of seeing right before the injury. And when I talk about why we struggled, partial reasons why we struggled against the Cavs and the Celtics is like we got OG Anunoby back. Yes, we did. He was playing finally. But he wasn't in rhythm yet. So like he has his defensive instincts. Yes, he's always gonna have that. But like this level of OG Anunoby is a lot different from the OG Anunoby that we was playing versus the Cavs and the Celtics. This guy is confident. He's shooting threes. He's blocking shots. He had a tremendous block on Tyler Hero, seemingly out of nowhere. Tyler Hero was like 3 feet behind the 3-point line. OG came out of nowhere and blocked the shot. So he's blocking shots from the 3-point line. He's blocking shots at the rim. He got a huge offensive rebound to help win the game when Jalen Brunson missed the shot. Something OG Anunoby doesn't really do. You don't really see him crashing the boards like that. That's his Achilles heel. We saw him hitting the boards for a big putback. You saw him fake out the shot blocker for dunks. OG had a complete game, 23 points. The old OG that I love last year when he joined the Knicks is back. And man, this is the type of guy that's going to help us ascend to the next level. If he's healthy and he's playing like this, then we can go, okay, we got Cat. Yes, we have Cat. Yes, we do have Brunson. But a lot of times this season, it seems like the third most important player has been oscillating between OG and McCall. And we haven't consistently found that third player. And we need somebody to step up. So if OG can do that, so be it. I love how OG played today.
100%. I think one of the reasons why OG has returned to the effectiveness that we saw last season is his confidence. I think his play is intrinsically tied to how much he feels integrated within the offense. And Brunson's doing a great job of implementing him within the offense. And you saw it in the trust for him hitting that last minute three. And I said last game, I think this could carry over in seeing a higher production from OG. And I also added that I love the 10-3 attempts. He made 4 last game, and it's Memphis to the total of 10. Tonight, he did a total of 9. I love the volume, especially if Josh Hart is going to be scared to shoot.
Yeah.
We need OG to increase his volume so that we maintain that level of, I think for the most of the season, we've been top 5, top 7 in 3-point percentage overall. We need OG to continue that because we're not a high volume shooting team. So the more threes we're getting, if Cat is kind of regressing from being a shooter, or Josh Hart is, or Precious is non-existent as a shooter, we really need that to come from him in the corners because statistically, he's one of the best in the NBA. But also, is he off-ball cutting? When OG is cutting in the offense, it frees everything up. It also gets the defense, a defense side Miami, which was switching everything in the first half, did some caught in rotations. And that helper of the helper on their side was getting burnt by OG, and OG was the one taking advantage of a lot of that. Also, when he was being put in action and pick and roll, I saw 2 times in the first half that Tibbs ran plays with OG and Cat and OG and Brunson. And OG was the one who ended up being in the mid-range, being able to take that shot. The same shot I said, let's get him that opportunity last post game. The ones that he was the most in that mid-range, that Kawhi Leonard shot, was able to pull up stiff and hit that little 14, 15-foot midi. That's Tibbs is utilizing him in a really good way, in an X's and O's schemes way, a word that people love overusing on Twitter. He's being put in those actions, and we're reaping the benefits because when he's off ball, it makes the defense stay honest. You can't hedge as hard as you could. You can't double Brunson. You can't blitz Brunson and put him in traps because OG is presenting himself to catch the lob or catch that cutting pass, bounce pass, and put it up for a layup. It makes our offense more complex, and it makes us less predictable. So I'd add OG, both sides, a defensive masterclass. There are moments where he shut down Tyler Hero by himself and then switched on to the 5. We saw the return of the pre-switch today in pick and roll. OG then took Cat's spot at the 5 and guard the pick and roll, allowed Cat to be more of a weak side helper, more of a help defender, which I think he is more suited for, which is why I've argued that Mitchell Robinson should start. So Cat's in more that action on the defensive side. I think it would just leave a lot of stress on his shoulders. But with OG committing again to the pre-switch, now he was shutting down Bam, really stopping Bam from being a playmaker role, which I've always said on this show since I came here. Bam is at his most dangerous when he's a playmaker, not when he's a scorer. And I think we really limited that tonight, and they had to rely too much on Hero to play hero ball. And if you're doing that, the Knicks are going to win.
Hero ball, got it.
Had to cook for a minute.
Yeah. I agree. OG, and again, I'll stay on this hill that they need more movement. OG and McHale both they work better off movement. Getting them going the mid range, letting them play freely a little bit, a lot less thinking, a lot more playing. And he looks. And I said last post game that I hope that the game winner he can build off of it. Maybe add some confidence or whatever. And today, OG looked like he was feeling himself very much so.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen some emotions after plays more than normal. You see him going to the bucket, giving you a little versatile, a little bit of everything, and on defense guarding a little bit of everybody. It's just in the rebounding. He looked to make it his business. A lot of times he was on that off. I think he had a couple of offensive rebounds. Actually, not even that key clutch one. He all through the game, I noticed that OG was rebounding. It stood out to me. I'm like, okay, OG, and it wasn't no little ticky tack. He was going to go get those
Three offensive rebounds from
rebounds.
OG.
Yeah, yeah. So he was going to go get those rebounds. And again, another thing with Mitch that we might have not mentioned was the team's attention on the rebounding is Mitch. And a lot of times what Mitch does is he'll just box you out. He'll box you out and let his teammates get the rebound. OG was benefiting off of that too a little bit today, getting a little chippies every once in a while. So just doing it, finding a way to affect the games in a lot of different ways. That's why with him, I know Mikal didn't play his best today, didn't have his best showing today, but with OG and Mikal, I give a lot of grace because I know sometimes the numbers don't always tell the whole story with them.
Yeah,
Good point.
that's a fact. That's a fact. Which kind of leads me to another conversation. Tibbs adjustments. Haters will say he never adjusts. I mean, he does adjust sometimes. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer to adjust than other times.
Too long.
Today, big adjustment was Deuce McBride playing over Mikal Bridges. Mikal, in an overtime game, only played 28 minutes. Deuce McBride was extremely effective, aggressive, hitting threes. I talked earlier about how Deuce McBride swing skill, the skill that's making me raise an eyebrow, is his ability to kind of create off the dribble.
Yes.
And shoot over contest, shoot in the mid range over contest. He's done that in clutch situations. That Deuce move to
Tyler Hero, right? It was Hero he had on skates.
I think it was Hero he had on skates.
Yep.
It definitely was Hero he had on skates. So yeah, that move by Tiz to put McCallum on the bench and go longer with Deuce was huge for us. And it's crazy, even with his lack of size, he still makes plays. Like there was a play where the Heat threw an alley-oop to Bam, and Deuce broke up the alley-oop. Like he bodied up on Bam, broke up the alley-oop from Bam, and caused a turnover. I'm just like, who is this? This guy is 6 feet tall, breaking up alley-oops from a guy who's 7 foot, like 7-footer damn near. Like that's crazy. So I love the adjustment that Tiz made today by playing Deuce more. I loved the lineup. There was a lineup where it was like Jalen Brunson and all defenders. It was like Jalen Brunson, Deuce, OG, Mitch, and McCall. I think that might have been the lineup. That kind of started to cut into the lead in I think the second quarter or so. That was an interesting lineup. I liked how Lee mentioned it before. He took Cat off of Bam and had OG kind of guard him. I just liked a lot of the things that Tibbs did today on the coaching end. He definitely got out coached in the first half, but that second half, it just found like he found his mojo, and it helped the Knicks get the win today.
I think it also helped that the players got better at their reads in the second half too, and really took advantage of what the defense was giving them off of, because Miami was switching everything. So I think people started really attacking Duncan Robinson in those switches, and also attacking Terry Rozier. And when we started doing that, along with when we'll talk to him about Mitchell Robinson's offensive rebounding and defense at the rim as well, that's really when the tide turned. But I want to talk about Deuce McBride. Deuce McBride, man, unbelievable bench player. I think he's really making a case potentially to be either a starting option or way more minutes than what he's getting off the bench because of his two-way play. He provides so many things. One of them is movement shootings, the type of action we've been asking from Mikal Bridges, the effectiveness of coming off of curls. We were seeing that in the exact same positions on the court by Deuce McBride, that left corner, coming off the curls set by OG or set by Cat, not Cat, who was it? Josh Hart, those type of catch and shoot opportunities or on the ball opportunities, he's able to shoot, as you mentioned, Jay, with really tight coverage. And that matchup between him and Davion Mitchell was box office tonight. I thought both of them had really good stops. What I loved about Deuce is using his body, his girth, strength, upper body strength to really defend the rim on drives. He's really becoming a great contesting small guard, using his strength and that upper body broadness of his shoulders to stop people from getting good angles at the rim. And you saw this jaw the night before. You saw it tonight against Davion Mitchell. And then on the flip side, he's starting able to break you down off the dribble. Doesn't matter what defenders are throwing at him. He's able to score because of that. Really, he's got a very high release too. And the reason that you don't see Obi Toppin, RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly, or Quentin Grimes in this roster is because for all the good they brought to the game, when the lights got bright in the playoffs, they all choked offensively. Deuce McBride is on this team because when the lights got bright in the playoffs, he came through. He became one of our most trusted shooters, not just in catch and shoot, but as you mentioned, off movement and off the dribble. He becomes a very deadly part of our offense and our sixth man off the bench. And every championship team has had just one double-digit scorer coming off their bench. Deuce McBride will be ours.
I don't agree with that one part about that's why they're not on the roster. But I'm not even gonna get into that. That's gonna be a whole nother debate. That's a whole nother shit.
You can have it some other time.
Facts. Yeah, we talk about adjustments, and then I get to talk about Deuce also. Tibbs, yeah, I was really wondering what he was doing in that first half, but the adjustments he showed, even throughout the game, even still in overtime, I think it was overtime, or it might have been fourth quarter, whichever one it was, when Tyler Hero shot over Deuce.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was good defense, it's just Deuce too small. He shoots right over Deuce, and right before Tyler Hero did it, Clyde actually calls it out. He's calling it out before it happened. He said he could shoot right over him. And as soon as he said that, what happened? He shot right over Deuce.
Mm-hmm.
But Tibbs, the very next play, who was on Tyler Hero when he was driving?
OG.
Mm-hmm. Anunoby. Mm-hmm. So even still, he's still adjusted. So yes, little small ones. He did his big one. He adjusted. He adjusted so much that we didn't see a Precious either at all today. I don't know if he was hurt or what, but we just didn't see him.
Nah, I told you last game.
That's it.
The more Mitch plays, the less you're gonna see Precious. That is.
I think if Mitch has been getting to the starting lineup, then I think Precious will come back into the rotation. But having Mitch and Precious both be part of the bench unit is absolute ass cheek offense. Like that, you don't want that. Now, smart on Tibbs for realizing Shaman's a better pairing off the bench. If and when Mitch starts, that's when I think you see Precious reintegrate into the rotation. Perhaps it may be lesser minutes, but reintegrate nonetheless.
It's still like Precious and Josh Hart together though. I still feel like
yuck.
Yeah, yuck. Like I don't even like I'm saying, like I don't even know.
You're not wrong. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, I was thinking that I actually wrote that down. I love Hart, but they're starting to treat him like he's non-existent on the offensive end. We talk about Mitch again, like you mentioned in the spacing, but like that's why I was mentioning when people came at Mitch for that spacing, we have people that don't shoot like that too, that they treat like this. We've seen what that looks like. I don't know what Josh got to do, but he looks to have lost a little bit of confidence in his shooting ability.
Yeah, I thought this.
He was shooting it pretty well, like up and down, off and on. So I don't get where this is coming from at all. Like, or even you would think with his burst of speed, he would like having a bigger player on him. You know, he beat him to the bucket, but I think it's because Josh Hart is not so much a handler. He's not going whoo, 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 whoo. He's more of I'm gonna catch you off my first step type of person, full speed ahead to get to the basket. It's kind of what he did against AB. We know he's not a defender, so Alec Burks still not playing no defense. He gave up that line drive, but I was just going back to the Tibbs. Tibbs is using OG like Boston and shout out to the Liberty. Like Boston and Liberty use their type their best defenders. Whoever has the ball, whoever's hot, that's who he's holding. You see that a lot with Drew Holiday. They did it to us.
Yes.
He didn't switch from the top of the key. Whoever had that ball, Drew was holding. And it kind of was like that with OG today because he's seen a little bit of everybody. He was on Tyler Hero once, then later on in the play, he might have been on Bam. And then and this will be the same plays and the same, so yeah, I like Tibbs looks like he's learning how to benefit from using OG in his game a little bit more. But it's small sample size. I hope it is able to continue. I was able to continue with him listening to the game.
I thought this was the best counter we've had for zone defense in the last 2 years, maybe even longer. Yeah, even longer, because as you go further back, we had worse shooting on the roster. So this, I loved how we attacked the zone. Spo has always really gotten us. He's built leads on us or cut into our lead by employing the zone, especially when we have really wonky lineups out there. Precious Josh Hart's a good example of that. Tonight, the real zone busters with OG continue to be a high volume shooter, and Deuce McBride, who himself hit 3 of 7 tonight. That's 16 threes among just those two. And those two guys were crucial, specifically in the third quarter and second half, in busting that zone and allowing us to then for them to have to readjust. And then when they readjusted, us taking advantage of that man-on-man defense and attacking them in pick and roll coverage with Brunson, especially getting everything he wanted in the mid-range. Loved it, man. I want to see more in the first half. Want to start the game in pick and roll between Cat and Brunson. We've seen Tibbs go away from that a little bit. I think that needs to be reinstated early in the first quarter to really ram it down opponents' throats, pause, because it's unguardable and it's the most effective point per game possession, points per possession in the NBA between those two. It's impossible to stop. So why not utilize it in the first 5 or 6 plays, at least have it a secondary action and see how the defense responds to it, because it's guaranteed to be at least either 2 points or a trip to the foul line.
I agree. We got to do something with Cat. I don't know if he's still hurting or whatever, but he doesn't look right to me.
Yeah,
mobility wise either.
He just looks frustrated all the time.
Yep.
Every time he goes to drive, every time he drives, he yells, "What are you doing?" Like he always. Like he's not getting any calls whatsoever, and he gets more pissed as the game goes on.
And the voice gets higher and higher and higher.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So they gotta stop. He's like, "Oh, I gotta stop. I can't stand it."
Man.
But we gotta do something about Cat. Let's get to it, man. What did you think about Cat's game today? Because the rebounding is always good. I love the spacing he provides, but it's like I feel like that. Maybe I don't know if it was the adrenaline of the first half of the season, or maybe it is the knick-knack injuries that's messing him up right now. But the first half of the season, he was looking like an MVP caliber player. Second half of the season, he still looks. It looks like he's struggling despite the numbers. I feel like the numbers are misleading a little bit.
Agreed. Very misleading.
I have a perfect. I always say, Jay. Men lie, numbers don't, but they could be deceiving as hell because they can. It says he's 6 for 11. That sounds like he had a pretty good game, right? I think that's what I seen in the for field goal, 6 for 11, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, 6 for 11, 54% from the field, 1 for 4 from 3 though, but 3 turnovers and foul trouble, of course,
and a boatload of terrible defense. A boatload. You could put low lights, just no highlights, just a bunch of low lights on that end. Low lights. Brunson saved him a lot of issues today. 1 on the offensive end and 2 on the defensive end, because he had actually allowed Bam to step in and get an offensive rebound, and had it not been for Brunson stripping that, this game might have not been a win, to be honest.
That's a good point, Ed.
So he's just sold. To me, is watching. I'm watching Cat on the defensive end. He has a lot of bad habits, and he's not ever in position. he's late to recover all the time. It's almost like he's watching like we are on TV. Like he's amazed himself, and then it's like, oh snap, let me move.
Yeah, and like he doesn't even dig. Like you see everybody else digs and recovers. Like he doesn't even dig. Like he doesn't even put it. Like there was a point where I forgot who it was. Cat and somebody had somebody trapped under the basket, and this is the one time it's like, okay, he's in good position. But like, how do you have somebody trapped under the basket with your hands down?
Right. That's the issue.
Terrible defensive principles, like habits. Doesn't watch the man in the ball, never. So if people go back door because he's literally watching the ball. He watching, and then like I've heard Cat, you know, he's very agile or whatever. After that, I don't see no. He's very crafty. I give you that. I'm not giving the mobile agile as Clyde would say, especially because he always looks like he's stumbling over his feet. You ever see him turn to try to recover and defensive? It don't look good. It doesn't look good. His feet don't. Them puppies don't move.
It's funny. It's like it does and it doesn't. There's points where I see him switch onto players and he's locked in, and then his feet are moving and his hands are up and he looks like a completely different player defensively. But then when I feel like when Cat's playing one-on-one defense on like an ISO situation, things look a lot better.
Yes, you saw it tonight against Bam.
Yeah,
possession.
It looks a lot better when it's like movement going all around him.
Bro.
He is a lost kitty. He doesn't know where to go, where to put his hands. You heard me say dial up a bunch of times, or like the dial up modem analogy, where it's like the speed at which he's processing the game is like 2 steps slower. Like somebody will come to his spot, throw a floater, and then after the floater is thrown, then he'll put his hand up. I'm like, dog, the hand should have been up. This is like it was rough. It was rough. But then it's like there'll be game on the line, and all of a sudden the principles might come back for like two or three possessions when there's like under a minute to go or something. It's crazy.
Jay, you need to clip that, cut it, and post that on social media. That was a great breakdown of the pros and cons, mostly the cons of Karl-Anthony Towns' defense. But you're right, man. On an island, sometimes he plays some. I think he starts taking it personally. He gets a little more aggressive. There's some emotion behind it. He really wants to get a stop, but it's also everything slows down. He didn't really concentrate on himself, where his body is in proportion to the opponent, using his broadness, his size to get stops, to use his size to cut away angles from the basket. But you're 100%, bro. You hit the nail on the head. When there's motion, especially off-ball motion, he's not 1 possession late. He's almost 2 possessions late. People really, when they see him playing the 5 and OG at the 4, they just attack. And those type of advantages I want the Knicks to do in the first quarter is to put other players in pick and roll action. Let us hit those easy shots. Because they're doing the same thing to us. And Karl-Anthony Towns immediately is getting in his head. He's getting early foul trouble in the first quarter because they're going after him and they're hunting him in switches.
Yeah. It's getting so bad that Duncan seen him on him and immediately drove to the basket. Duncan Robinson saw Cat on him and immediately, like no thoughts in his head, proceeds to take him to and got there too. If it had not been for help defense, he probably would have got a lay.
That's a fact, man. I mean, that's why I was appreciating some of these lineups. Like I appreciated the Brunson lineup with Mitch, OG, McCall, like the whole defense lineup Brunson, and then I appreciated freaking the Cat lineup with like the all defensive bench unit. Because I was like, I just appreciated I think I appreciated the lineups today from Tibbs more than I have other games. We saw those type of lineups. We saw all defensive lineups to close games with Deuce and OG, and then we saw all offensive lineups with Josh Hart on the bench with Deuce, McCall, Brunson, Cat, OG, like a 5-out all lineup. I saw a lot of lineups I like today for sure, but like that, defensively, Cat has to get better. He just has to.
I definitely want to comment on that, Jay. I did some research, dug into the 5-man rotations, and you remember back in the day how quickly used to be the X factor in all the different 5-man lineups on the floor, where every lineup he was in was excellent, not just on offense, but also on defense. Mm-hmm. It's the same damn thing now with Deuce McBride. The best lineups have Deuce McBride, the 99th percentile 5-man lineup. The only one that's 99% involves Deuce. And you know who Deuce is playing over?
Mikal
Bridges. Mm-hmm. Bridges. It's Bridges on the bench and Deuce at the 2 with Cat at the 5. That is the best lineup for the Knicks offensively, defensively, but it's only the 6th most used lineup of all lineups under Tom Thibodeau. So we're not utilizing most. I don't think it needs or necessitates a lineup change, where Deuce, even though I mentioned it earlier, I think it just means more minutes for Deuce. And let's, you know what? Let's reduce Mikhail's minutes a little bit. Let's give the man some rest because the analytics and the eye test are both showing you that we can sustain momentum with Deuce McBride and allow Bridges to rest, which is different than what we have with Brunson. We can't rest Brunson. And before Mitch came back, we couldn't rest Cat. But if we have that advantage between Bridges and McBride, use it. Because the more McBride plays, the more he's going to unlock his game. Now we're starting to see the curl off the curl action. Now we're starting to see, you said, little mid range, off the dribble, high arc, on a tight defender, no space. Hey, let's see what else he can do. Let's see how he starts attacking closeouts. Let's see if he develops a little push shot. Let's really see how he's able to absorb contact and maybe be one of our guys we depend on to draw fouls for us. You don't know until you do it. And we have an advantage right now. Let's rest the guy who needs rest more than anyone in Bridges and put Deuce McBride in more minutes of the two.
I have a couple of points because y'all spitting me, y'all cooking right now. So, but
Oh, thank you, sis.
I had just with Deuce, we was talking about how he's making a leap and making plays, and I agree with what Gamer Channel said. He just said Tibbs will use it in the playoffs. I remember saying that teams know what we're going to do. We need a wild card. We need the wild card. So maybe this is the wild card, something that can work, but you don't want to overuse it just yet. It's working. It's working when you do use it, and then now when playoff come, you really that'll be your desperation or something. Maybe it's the wild card. He might play it again, but I'm loving Deuce's growth. He is reading the game tremendously, doing what the defense is giving him. Okay, you're gonna run me off the line. I'm still gonna get into my spot, and I'm gonna pull up. That pull up is damn near automatically this year, especially. And he the confidence in his game. I just love that bench. They did it again today. They closed the league, even though we got it again back to 20 before halftime. But when they were in there that first half, they definitely brought the energy and showed the Deuce. He did it the whole game. Deuce brought energy and offensive aggression. And another thing that I'm loving about Deuce's game is his relocation. He has very timely relocating where the defense thinks they knows where he at, and at the last moment he moves to the spot and gives his man a good passing pocket. Like, here I am. Very very. I'm not, again, don't go crazy, y'all. Steph my favorite player, but that's very Stephish.
Yeah.
That relocation thing. Yeah, he does that very well, and that's something that I noticed he was doing that a lot today. So he just been, huh?
Very good catch.
Yeah, he's definitely been doing that. So just growth. Deuce is a leap is what I say every year. And when you have a work ethic like he does, you expect him to get better every year because he good dude. And what was it about Cat? Winston said he has to learn to read the game better, and I agree. He needs to watch nothing but film. Cat needs to watch lots of it. I think if he's prepared rather than recovering all the time, or rather just than watching, he'll be better. He just doesn't seem like he knows what the defense is doing. Like, it's just as much a surprise to him what they're doing as it is for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a roast.
I mean, it's true though. It's kind of true.
It is.
But yeah. With the Macau thing though, I do agree with you, Lee. Like,
My earring unfair.
I do feel like Deuce is playing so well, and this is not to say that you bench Macau or anything, but like Macau is playing so many minutes. He's like leading the league in minutes. Today he played 28 minutes. It's not gonna hurt to play Deuce more and have Macau play 28 minutes.
100%.
Save his legs. And kind of just play it by ear. Like the games where it's like, wow, Macau is really shutting somebody down. Play him more of those games. You know what I'm saying? If need be, depending on matchup, depending on what's happening on the floor. Like Ebony likes to say, depending on read the game, depending on the rhythm of the game, we can play Macau more minutes on these games. Right? So far this season, he's been like stamped 40 minutes a game, and it doesn't have to really be that way.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's also about like lineup adjustments too. That's not the only adjustment that I think needs to happen. With Mitchell Robinson coming back as well, I like the idea of Cat less at the 5 and more at the 4. I also like the idea of OG less at the 4 and more at the 3. I think those positional adjustments are going to help us defensively. It gives us more size. It helps out with the offensive rebounding. You already saw the impact of Mitchell Robinson's offensive rebounding. Shout out you, Mitch, for coming back and being on the floor twice tonight, going after
Oh,
loose balls. Mitchell Robinson has now skyrocketed to my top 3 favorite Knicks. I love the man, and I also love him because he is the great barometer if someone knows basketball or not. Depending on how they feel about Mitchell Robinson, if they're emotional and in their feelings about him, if they say, oh, he can't dunk or he's got Stonehenge hands or whatever, that gives me an idea whether I need to engage with them or if they're worth engaging or not. If they have maybe a mixed bag of opinions, he's injury prone, he's not a great lob threat, but the offensive rebounding, the defense, the energy, defense on a string, the communication. Okay, let's have a conversation about ball because you obviously are capable of realizing the impact that he has. But I wanted to see, and I think at some point we need to see the big to big lineup, even if it's not in a starting capacity. I want to see a little bit of creativity between Mitchell
Yeah.
Robinson and Carl Anthony Towns playing together at the 4 and the 5. Because right now, what's missing from Cat is the playmaking.
It's,
The
it,
reason the last 4 games have been a negative plus minus, he's only had 2 assists, and he had 0 assists tonight. He's no longer being the playmaker. So really, it's limiting him even further offensively. Might as well have him at the 4 if he's not going to give us that I heart 5 bag.
yeah. I was just waiting for this. I ain't want to be. Y'all already know I'm the Mitch person.
yeah, yeah,
I ain't want to. I'm glad Lee, brought the convo to it. You see the difference every time he's on there. You see the bench go crazy. You see your big get on the floor. That means something. Because if he can do it after the second game back, then there's no excuse for nobody on
No,
this team. That sets the tone. That sets your tone. Lee speaks about him and his communication on that, and he's always talking. Ain't the anchor of our defense, definitely. Just adding a difference, the amount of attention he gets on the boards. People make sure they go rebound so much so that they might forget to do other things, like maybe box out their man, and then they get other rebounds. And you see again, people talk about offense, talk about whatever his lack of offense, but two or three. Would you like? We prefer 2 or 3, right? My man gets the rebound and finds all the time. He finds the open shooters that get our guys some of the easiest looks they
yeah,
get all game. That means something.
yeah.
That that helps with your rhythm. Um, we just talking about, he's still working his way. You could tell with the conditioning, but at second game back and what he's doing, you see battling, always there. I'll box out my man. You get it. Giving us extra shot attempts, making people think twice because they see him. These are all things we needed badly. And I see in Gamers Channel saying it makes you feel like we playoff ready, and it does. That's what he gives you. Because everybody knows, all basketball fans know, that rebounding and defense. All the greats will keep telling you, and I'm gonna keep preaching it. Rebounding and defense. That's what you need to get to that chip, to get the chip.
talk
And
about it.
and Mitch, he allows that. He gives us a chance.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm gonna say two things, real quick things too. I don't know if you want to add to this, because one, we will see the Mitch Cat lineup, but I think what's happening first is they're building up Mitch's stamina. Because right now, Mitch can only play like 12 minutes a game, 12, 13 minutes a game. So if you're playing 12 or 13 minutes a game, you kind of just want him to be the official backup center and
Okay.
get that role first. I think once his wind is up and he can start to play like 15 to 20 minutes a game, then you can start playing him with Cat because he'll have more energy to have extended minutes. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's coming. I think they're just waiting for him to get his wind up so they can play more minutes so they can start to mix and match the lineups a little bit more.
No notes. You cooked.
Yeah, facts. I also think that that's another one of Tibbs' adjustment, because even though Mitch is on a minutes restriction, it was a time where Cat wasn't giving us anything, and it seemed like Tibbs kind of left Mitch out there a little longer than I thought he would have. It seemed like he was out there a lot longer than I think he would have had Cat been doing with something else, doing his job. So yeah, I really hope that I think playing Cat next to Mitch will help him. I think it would help take some pressure off of him. I think it would get the joy back into him because I've seen Cat when he's able to pass, he seems like he's the happiest person on earth.
Agreed.
Yeah, the way he
Agreed.
poses after the pass lets you know he likes. He be like,
He was trying to do the Johnson. Yeah, no facts. So it looks like that's a big part of his game. It gets him going, you know. Like my guy Will Farrell said, it gets the juices going, you know.
Yeah.
But
man.
I think yeah, that needs to help. Just like OG, some people believe OG needs offense to really lock in with his, you know, defense or whatever. Maybe Cat needs the his joy back. He needs to be able to create a little bit more, and I think that'll be easier for him with Mitch.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah. Yo, salute to the chat. Salute to the chat. And we just kind of been cooking and cooking and cooking and cooking and cooking and cooking and cooking. I ain't even acknowledge no chats. I ain't acknowledge no super chats. I ain't do that. We just been kind of just cooking. But now that we finished cooking, I'm gonna salute you. I'm gonna salute to the chat and give you guys a little bit of shine. All right. So first of all, shout out to Tony Banks, who gave us a $20 super chat. It says, I posted earlier that Cat is like a supermodel that doesn't cook or clean. Yo, she just looks good. I think Tibbs will have to play him as a power forward and Mitch as a center. A supermodel that doesn't cook or clean is a crazy analogy. Kind of funny. I'm not gonna hold you.
That's Unc.
Shout out to Uncle Tony. All right. Also, shout out to everybody rocking with the show. Stack Monduza, Sadu, my bad. My real fake cousin Winston Ellis, what's going on? Shout out to Gamer Channel. We served 100 people. Shout out to Picks for Timmy. Shout out to Fritz, the best mod in the game. Shout out to East Blue Drew, Brooklyn Butch, Prezi the Boss, Glamour Nicks, Kareem Grant, Felicia G, Mike Uno, Phil, if you're still here, shout out to you, Phil. Everybody else rocking the KOT show, appreciate you. Keith Watkins, if you like the show, if you're here, because there's 72 watching the show right now. If you're here, it's your first time here, hit that like and subscribe, especially if you want to interact with the chat. Hit that subscribe so you can interact with the chat. We do post games after every game. And so if you like these post games and you like the commentary, you can come here and kick it with us. All right. So shout out to the supporters who are here. All right. And shoot, any comments on? Any more comments that you want to point out?
Yeah, man. I want to point out Winston Ellis. So glad we kept Mitch. It's a great sidebar to have, just a little short one. You know, there have been times in the past where we have a really good player that brings a lot to our team. I remember Nazi Muhammad. I love Nazi Muhammad. Then one day we trade Nazi Muhammad for Malik Rose, and I was like, "What the hell are we doing, man?" Like Malik Rose washed. You know, it's like some guys attach the names on paper and they think about their Wikipedia entry opposed to what they're actually doing on the court. And Mitchell Robinson, there was no point this season where I was worried that Leon Rose was trying to trade him, because I think Leon Rose, after some misfires, Kimba, Fournier, he understood, Nerlens Noel to a degree, he understood what Tibbs needs in order to be successful. Drop coverage. The haters will always say it's outdated, but Tibbs runs it to perfection when he has the right tools in the toolbox. Mitchell Robinson is that tool. It's a Swiss Army knife. So I'm really happy that Leon Rose not only retained him, but let him come back at a slower pace so that when he came back, there were no more nagging injuries, and he was more fortified and slimmed down to not re-aggravate or get a new injury when he can be played at his full potential as the minutes restrictions fade away and they start to go up. I'm really, really excited to see him, because Mitch is a player who always plays better in the playoffs than he does in the regular season, and he's pretty damn good in the regular season too.
All right.
Facts on facts.
Facts on facts.
I know how I feel about my guy. It's just the small things. He makes the game. Well, the game's already exciting, but for me, he makes the game feel like New York basketball. Just the grit, the grind, the not being so elegant, but you know, still doing his job. Sound like New York. You know, we rough and rugged, and then it's still a great place though. So that's what Mitch does. He allows everybody else to be able to chip in with the dirty work, but not so much that be solely their job. He takes on that job pretty well himself, and I love it. I just love that he's helping, and you see OG in them already. Pretty much, they get a little bit more aggressive when he's behind them. I feel. I don't know. We'll see if that continues, but so far since I've seen it, I've seen OG really push up with people, knowing that Mitch is back there. It's a difference than the way he kind of guards when it's Cat back there. I'm
Facts.
gonna be looking to see if that continues.
Eb, you and I had some heated debates last season about iHeart versus Mitch. Who should start? Who's more important? I stick by iHeart, I think, being the more talented player, but we always agreed. Why can't you just have both? You don't have to get rid of one. Both are super key. And now that iHeart's not here, and I love this about our channel, we don't mention him at all. We don't talk about the ops. So now I'm a team. We don't miss him. We don't have like sad stories, safe space hour. Let's get our feelings out about not having Isaiah Hartenstein. Oh my God, let's cry about Quentin Grimes. I love that about this channel. If they're gone, they're gone. We worry about who's here. And who's here is Mitchell Robinson. And I am trying my best to make that hashtag go viral. Never trade Mitch for a reason, man. He really is at the heart of a team, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Longest tenured Nick, still here.
For a reason. For a reason.
Still here. Still kicking. Let's get it. Let's get it.
Yeah, it's crazy what you see. What you see when not nobody on this channel, because we pretty much keep it 100 with how we feel. What you see when there's no hate though, when you don't dislike a person, that's why I say you can't look at people, even basketball, with somebody that you really just dislike because you miss stuff. And that's why even with Julius Randle was on this team, I try not to like say, oh, I can't stand this person. I can't stand this person, because I didn't want to miss anything. And I think that's the case with Mitch. A lot of people just wanted somebody else to play more minutes, and they were missing exactly what he was giving us.
Yeah, I agree. So, good conversation. Good conversation. I want to kind of pivot to something else. So as you guys might have known, the Knicks recently have just released Matt Ryan and Jacob Toppin, both guys who were on two-way contracts.
Matt Ryan trash.
I'm sad about Jacob though.
Yeah, Jacob's fine. Matt Ryan trash though.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. we already know Ariel Hawkporty has went down with an injury, meniscus tear, so he'll be out for they're gonna be not out, I think reevaluated in 4 to 6 weeks, which kind of leaves us at a crossroads with the type of player that we want to bring in with the squad. So it seems like the Knicks kind of have pivoted more, according to Even, and kind of are looking towards more centers to bring in. And the names that have been mentioned have been not even centers, big men. I should say big men, not just centers. And the names that have been mentioned have been Moses, PJ Tucker. I've seen Mo Bamba's name mentioned. Who else am I missing? I feel like I'm missing something.
I seen Christian Wood.
Christian Wood has been mentioned. I can't. I think my mind won't allow me to believe that the Knicks would actually consider Christian Wood. So I think I mentally block him out.
Yeah, me too. That's
And Okiki, I feel like I've seen Okiki too. So yeah. I don't know who you guys are feeling, or if you have a preference on who would you like to be brought in as a 15th man or 14th and 15th man.
I said, freeze me. I've been talking about TJ Warren for a minute. So he's a vet. They said they rave about him in the G League, how he is with the youth, a team player. He is a vet. He could go down there, like was mentioned. Brutus had mentioned to me today, and I was like, you know what, you're right. He could go down there and shoot all he want to if he wanted to. That he's a vet. That's a vet that's been in the NBA. He's a walking bucket. He could, but he doesn't. That's not what he does in the G League. So, I think that would be a good look. Somebody else like a campaign who accepts whatever role his team needs him to do. and I said Moses Brown, but Lee let me know that again, numbers are deceiving as hell. So, if you're going to bring the same flaws that we already have, you can stay where you at.
Yeah, and I'll just let Lee get into the Moses Brown breakdown
Yeah.
since
So
he's
Lee,
getting getting
Lee's gonna
recognition on
tell
Twitter
me.
for his breakdown of Moses Brown. So go ahead, Lee.
Yeah, go ahead, Lee. I'm not gonna do it, but that's why I changed my mind because I was real big on the Moses Brown. Lee informed me on what he about to talk about right now, and it kind of changed my mind a little bit.
Yeah, I enjoy watching lots of different NBA teams just to help my perspective, keep me rational on my own team. So that I don't get too ahead of myself, even though I still jump out the window like a crazy person sometimes. But I watch definitely the Mavs. Love because I'm around Mav fans, so I like to engage them in discourse and try to have this level of conversation with them. And they don't like Moses Brown either because what Gafford gives them and Lively gives them and even Dwight Powell gives them is defense on a string. All three of those guys are great communicators. Moses Brown is not. All three of those guys will have 50-tat fouls. They will perhaps maybe double when doubling is not the assignment, but they will always play hard defense and keep that motor for all 4 quarters. That's Moses Brown's biggest issue. The reason Moses Brown has been cut from every team or traded from every team he's ever been on, the reason why he can't stay on the roster is because of his lack of a motor. He doesn't play hard all the time. He plays hard when he's engaged and utilized and actually has opportunities to catch the ball, not as on a lob. Catch it, pivot, fake, hook. That's not in Tom Thibodeau's system. You're not going to get those looks. Those looks are reserved solely for Karl-Anthony Towns. Precious barely gets those looks. Mitch barely gets those looks. And Sims and Hot Porty never got those looks. So there's no way that G League Moses Brown's going to come in the NBA and get 9 touches and shoot 8 and 9. That's not going to happen. It's going to happen in Dallas because Kidd actually allows his centers to at times even have the offense run through it. When Lively is healthy, they are running the offense through him in the short roll. He is making the decision for the guy that's coming off the curl to catch and shoot. That's how Dallas operates. That's not the Knicks system. You got to pick players that fit the system. Moses Brown does not fit the Knicks. That's not now. If he was capable of being on a two-way, hey man, freeze me too. I agree with Ebony, but he's not because of how long he's been in the NBA. Him and OTT are not qualified for those two-way spots. Those two-way spots should go, in my opinion, really young, raw projects because the rotation's set, y'all. I don't think anyone we add is going to be a break glass in case of emergency. We have one roster spot, one full-time roster spot to fill. And in my opinion, that should go to my main man, a dog, a nasty Rough Rider, PJ Tucker, a champion, most importantly, a very key piece, a starting piece at the 4 for the Milwaukee Bucks when they won a chip. And anyone who has a highlight tape of him bitching out his own teammates and opposing players, I love it's a mixtape of being a dog. Just like that's what we need. PJ Tucker, I don't need you to play a single second of any game. Just be on the bench and bitch out the guys when they're lapsing on defense. Get in Cat's ear. Get in OG's ear. Get in Bridges' ear. Get in Brunson's ear. Be that leader in the locker room on the bench, the same way Markieff Morris was heralded on last year's Mavs Finals team as being that leader. When guys got down, when shots weren't falling, yo, man, this is a lead. Wake up and earn your money. That's what PJ Tucker can give you in a championship capacity. My money's on him being that last roster spot because for all the buckets that TJ Warren can get, for all the defense that OTT might be able to play, Tibbs is not going to trust them this late in the stage to be a part of the rotation. So if I'm going to have a bench player, someone who ain't getting off the bench, make it a champion who did somebody's ear and set somebody right when they need it.
I think Lee sold me, man. I'm not gonna hold you.
On PJ or PJ?
Yeah, I think he sold me. I'm not gonna hold you.
Yeah,
a boy dog. He's a dog.
He sold me.
I get to see his sneaker game. As a sneakerhead, that's always good.
yeah, true too.
Yeah. But for you guys following the channel, I've always kind of like been intrigued by like a Mo Bamba experiment. I always have. Sure. It's kind of alarming that he's been seems like he's giving a lot of opportunities. And no matter where he's going, he's getting cut. He's getting cut. It's kind of reminding me of like some Cam Reddish type of stuff. So it's like no matter, even though he might have the talent, it seems like maybe the drive or the discipline is missing. So although I've always been intrigued by Mo Bamba because of his 3-point shooting, maybe he can rebound, maybe he can block shots. The 3-point shooting block shot type of center has always intrigued me in general. But that the fact that he just keeps getting cut and then goes to the Lakers with LeBron and those guys, people with veteran presence and cuts again, is just like, what's happening?
Especially when you especially when you need when LeBron and them always needed that type of center.
Exactly.
That's literally the type of center that they need.
It's alarming.
They out there holding on to Jackson Hayes because that's what they need. That's all they got, really.
Exactly. And it's like,
but yeah,
we seem to do well with bigs, so it's like, maybe we can do something because we seem to do well developing bigs. So I was like,
didn't he go through a little injury problem? Injuries off and on too.
With
Mo Bamba?
I think with the Magic early on, right, Lee? I feel like he did with the Magic.
Yeah, he hasn't been like injury prone his entire career, but a lot of times when he's on a 10-day or he's on a 2-way or he's signed to a vet minimum, something will happen that will eliminate a large sample size of games, or people never really get to be able to have a full look of what he's capable of. But one thing for sure, same thing with Moses Brown. He lacks a motor. He doesn't need the ball as much as Moses Brown to be effective because attention for him is really on the defensive end. But his skinny frame, he's not a drop coverage big. He's more of a weak side help. He's more of a rotation big. Someone can guard the perimeter a little bit more too. But Tibbs needs a drop guy. Tibbs needs a Sims more than he needs a Bamba. That's why Sims and Precious, who's also sometimes good in drop, at least maybe if he's in drop as the 4 or the 5 next to another big like Hot Porty, he can be effective. But Hot Porty's coming back too in 6 to 8 weeks. I don't think Moses Brown is necessary because whatever this roster spot is, I'm thinking about vibes and tenor and cohesion for the playoffs, not so much a piece that's actually going to play. So Hot Porty can kind of fill that third string center role for me. And I'd rather have him with Brown or Mo Bamba personally as well. More potential.
Yeah, I guess I don't expect much from Hot Porty considering like the timing of it, because he's gonna come by like right before playoffs or something. So it's like to get him acclimated with playing again and throwing him in during a playoff game, like it seems like really unlikely unless something happens crazy or we get desperate. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not really relying on Hot Porty for the rest of the season, to be honest, just because of the timeline. And like
me neither, Jet. I said I agree. I don't see him being ready.
Exactly. I see him. He might be healthy, but then like to throw him into a playoff atmosphere, without having not played basketball for a month as a rookie, that seems like a tall task. Like I feel like we would go to Precious before we go to Hot Porty in a situation like that.
I felt y'all would like this question. It's from We Survey. He said, "Can Johnny Davis get some bench time?"
Bruh.
No.
I know to ask you guys because we were just talking about his production in his first G League game. How'd that go? Lee, you watched it, right?
No, I didn't watch it. I just watched him with the Wizards, and he was absolute cheats.
I think somebody said he was like negative 31 or something like that.
Ryan said he was at negative 41. Yeah. Historically bad. Yeah, he's just horrible on defense, man. He's a volume shooter, volume scorer, and he's like a Alonzo Trier, just a cone on defense. That's a guy that will never play and never excel in a Tibbs style system. He might fit somewhere else. I think he could be a Grimes type role over there in Dallas, coming off the screens, catch and shoot, without the defense, of course. But yeah, it's a system. You got to think about the right system. That's most important.
Yeah, I'm good.
I remember because I'm not big on college basketball anymore, like watching it wise. And I remember when he was drafted, people were mad we didn't pick him up.
Yeah,
I remember.
Yes,
they were flaming our front office for not getting this man.
Yep.
That's the only reason I remember him, because the name came up a lot. Oh, we could have got everything happens for a reason.
I agree. So yeah, I'm good on Johnny Davis. I think at least hold me on PJ Tucker. I'm not gonna hold you. I'm with it.
All right.
So I know Fritz is in the chat, my greatest mind in the game, as we like to call. You said that because TJ has more the years, he can't be with a 2-way contract. I get that, but is it impossible for him? I just don't want them to give that last spot. You don't think it should go to him per se, or can we do that? Can we give, because it's 15th? I know we got the two ways, and then we got one roster spot, right?
Correct.
So you saying with the one roster spot, y'all wouldn't give it to TJ? You would rather give it to PJ?
Yes, that's my preference. Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Because that spot's not going to play, in my opinion, in the playoffs. That spot's going to stay on the bench. So might as well have a champion in the bench, getting in guys' ears in the way that they need to. That's just my preference.
Okay.
Mhm. All right. All right, yo. Let's get to the next part of the show. Next part of the show, the ooh and bruh picks. Ooh picks are usually the best plays of the game, or not even this game. It could be something that we want to point out that we liked. And bruh picks are something stupid, dumb, idiotic that we want to point out and say, yo, this is stupid, this is dumb, idiotic. Why did this happen? Why was this play called? Why did he play defense like that? Why did he chuck this air ball? Or it could just be something in general that happened that you want to point out and you're like, bruh, that was dumb. So, do you guys have any ooh picks or bruh picks that you want to talk about?
Well, I can't. I had an ooh pick, but my memory shot. I definitely have a bruh pick though. It's definitely gonna be Miami Heat fans.
They have
I was
fans?
on Twitter, the Miami Heat fans. Them MVP chants was hella loud. One, and number two, them getting so sensitive about it. People on Twitter were posting, "Oh, those chants are loud. Nothing crazy. The chants is loud. They jumping out the window. Oh, F y'all.
I mean,
Nobody told y'all not to go support your team. How you mad at us?"
listen, I'm not gonna hold you. If there was the MVP chance for another player was loud in the garden, I'd be tight too. I would be right. I'll be right with them. So I understand. Uh, I'm just on the Knicks side squad, so I just think that shit is hilarious.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. The Knicks squad, we hear every once in a while a fan base will try to do that. You know, a fan base mostly from the West, because people from the West live in New York. You only got one time to see that team. So if somebody reselling the ticket for $1 trillion, that person might buy it for $1 trillion because they only got to get to see their team once. But that rarely happens in New York, because we come out in other states. We be having road trips to other states.
And we heavy in Florida too, so it makes sense.
Yeah, and definitely that was one of the comments. Oh, you mad New Yorkers like living in Florida?
Yeah, we living in Florida. That's just, it is what it is. We in Florida.
It's cheaper. It's smart. It's cheaper and with better weather. I get it. I understand it. I get it. But yeah, that I thought they was overly sensitive. It wasn't like we was the tweets that I did see that they were jumping out the window on. It wasn't like they was overly disrespectful. They was flying off the handle for, oh, those MVP chances loud. That's what got somebody cursed out and called a sweaty. Like some guy went in. He went in. I can't even remember what he said. But yeah, Miami Heat fans, definitely get my bruh pick. They're not serious.
I got 3 ooh picks, all different other teams that played some great basketball recently. The Nuggets, I think, and hot take, I think the Nuggets might be the favorites to come out the West right now. I've been really, really impressed with the level of basketball they're playing. They lost today to the Boston Celtics by 7, but still they're starting to really accumulate some defensive depth they needed with Strother and Nanji off the bench, giving them guys that they've been missing since Bruce Brown and KCP left that roster. If they can really get a third option consistently for Michael Porter Jr., I think they'll come out the West. That's their X factor right there. I think you might even see him get traded for Durant over the summer, but he's a guy that where if he's giving you 18, 20 a game, you can win another chip. But if you're depending solely on your offense from Murray and Joker, as great as they are, you might struggle in a 7-game series. I love what Russ is giving them. Dropped 12 in sets today. Nuggets is a really smart team. Also built very similar to the Knicks. Not a great defensive team, but can just stop when they need to. Also the Spurs with Wemby down, still balling.
Yeah.
Beat the Memphis Grizzlies. We beat the Grizzlies so bad that Ja and Bane had to sit the next game. So the Spurs took care of business too, 130, 128. But I was most impressed by the clutch game winner by De'Aaron Fox, trading him when they did while he's entering his prime to pair with Wemby and what I think is the best young core in the NBA. Talking about guys like Justin Champagne, who almost starting to fight tonight with OKC, Jeremy Sohan, Devin Vassell, and my main man, Ricky Villiers, Stephon Castle.
Yeah,
that's a squad, bro. That is a squad. Here's another hot take. That's a better roster than OKC. And I might get flamed for that. Fully healthy with Greg Popovich as a coach. I think that's a better roster than OKC.
I don't think that's crazy to think.
And some of those guys are real young, right? Like Sohan and Vassell and Castle, they have a lot higher ceilings to meet. But that pick and roll between Wemby and Fox, that's effing guardable. That's electric. So they can go fast. You can slow it down. You got CP3 and Barnes off the bench to add veteran stabilizing, and they're going to be in a lottery this year and get probably another top 5 pick to add to their core. That is insane business. They also drafted the homeboy from the Minnesota Timberwolves. Oh man, what is his name? The guard, Rob Dillingham, and then traded him. They drafted Castle 4th, Dillingham 8th, traded Dillingham to Minnesota for a future 2031 unprotected pick from Minnesota. You know how valuable that's going to be in 2031? You know, Ant's gone by then. Maybe he's wearing orange and blue, but holy hell, that's going to be one badass lottery pick. The San Antonio Spurs, still the pinnacle of NBA. And lastly, Milwaukee Bucks, who I have been hating on this entire year. Dr. Rivers has been my pick a few times on the channel. They're no longer a first-round exit, in my opinion. I've been watching them. They're re-energized. And shout out Jared Sims. I see you, brother. One of Ebony's favorite players. And Jay, who I sold all my stock to. My boy, Jared Sims, gave you 6 and 8. And one thing about Sims, the numbers are never deceiving. If he's giving you 6 and 8, that's a quality, impactful 6 and 8, because you know he's also giving you great drop coverage defense, rim protection, and offensive rebounding. And the additions of him and Kyle Kuzma, who gives you a little bit of everything as a third, fourth option, and Kevin Porter Jr., who's been stunning off the bench, finally find a place for his antics off the court, but also game on the court, is providing a really nice spark. I just see the Milwaukee Bucks causing some issues in the playoffs. We might end up getting matched up with them. I still think the Knicks, but the Bucks are better post-trade deadline than they were before.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah, they made some pretty good moves with Sims. And
You named a lot of people that I don't like.
Not Jericho Sims though. Not Sims.
Not Jericho Sims. But that's not a surprise to me. Jericho is going to be fine. He's going to be fine in the NBA. He has the part down that everybody doesn't play in this day and age. The other stuff will come. That will come.
Yeah.
And you talk about system. My Bucks seem like a pretty good fit for him. Brook Lopez looks like to be on his last legs maybe. So
Yeah.
definitely he could be their starter soon. Who knows? De'Aaron Fox is on the Spurs, so screw them. That's how I feel. I like the Spurs. I really do, because I love defenders. I love young defenders at that, and they have a bunch of those. So I do like them, but I stopped liking them once De'Aaron Fox became
their
still
dangerous. Like it or not, that team is crazy.
It is. I'm not going to discredit them with that. They have one of my least favorite point guards and one of my favorite point guards on the team, because I'm a big CP3 fan. I was part of the CP3 hive when everybody was talking about Darren Williams.
Yeah, same.
Oh, I remember those days. Yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah, CP3 all the way.
Days. Yeah, CP3 back in the day was one of my favorite players for sure.
Woo,
yes,
New Orleans.
Yeah, was your New Orleans Clippers CP3?
Yep.
Yeah, he was one of my favorite players.
He's definitely one of my favorites. Now he just role playing smart point guard. He is, but he's still one of my faves. I just love CP3 was a monster.
Yeah,
he really was.
Yeah. I got some. First, I'm gonna give some ex-Knicks some shine. First,
okay, yeah.
First, shout out to Kevin Knox, man. Just shout out to Kevin Knox, because I flamed him. I did not want him on the Knicks when we drafted. I did not want him on the Knicks at all. I felt like he had a low motor. I felt like he wasn't ready. He had the physical tools, but people with low motors in general, I just did not want on the Knicks. But to his credit, he's been going on team to team, getting 10 days, he's just still around after all these years, getting called up from teams, which means he's doing something right on the back end, whether it be his attitude, whether it be his work ethic or whatever. And I think the Warriors picked him up. So I just shout out to Kevin Knox. I flamed him when we drafted him, but he's still around and he's still getting checks. So just shout out to Kevin Knox for just still being in the NBA after all these years, working and getting call ups, even though you're not a star or a bench player solidified. You're still working. So shout out to Kevin Knox. And Grimes, still got some Grimes stock, 44-point game. So shout out to Grimes too. Still part of the. Still have my Grimes stock. See, he's working out there, so that too.
I never sold mine either, Jay.
Yeah,
I did.
Yeah,
I know you was done with him when he was still on the Knicks.
Yeah, I always felt like the 3-point shooting was gonna come around. His role was just a little bit different when the next season, like we just started playing different. So he was asked to shoot. He was asked to more kind of chuck, like instead of like made the correct 3-point play. Really, he was asked to like shoot tightly contested threes aggressively, and that wasn't what he was good at, and that's not what he was doing last year and how he found success. But DiVincenzo found success in that role, and so yeah, we'll pick for him for having that big 44-point game. Also, our own players, man. Jalen Brunson is the third clutchest player in the NBA. Hit clutch buckets again today to send the game into overtime. So shout out to Jalen Brunson for hitting those clutch buckets. Also, the mean behind the back pass to Josh Hart for the layup was a nice little dime for Jalen Brunson. So we'll pick for that. And OG Anunoby as well, who had a brilliant game, brilliant two-way game from posting up to passing, 3-point shots to putbacks to blocking 3-point shots to blocking shots at the rim. He was all over the place. So game ball for the Knicks go to OG Anunoby, to me, and Jalen Brunson. All right,
that's fair. Oh, wait, real quick. Shout out Felicia to reminding me. R.I.P. Angie Stone.
Oh yeah, yes.
I want to say Saturday and Sunday music, the cleaning music you used to hear. On those weekends or wake up to. So yeah, R.I.P. We lost a real talent.
And R.I.P. Yo, we Al Troutwick.
Oh, Al Troutwick too.
We never
And Gene
actually,
Hackman.
we never actually recognized Al Troutwick for all the work he's done for the Knicks and the commentating, and we lost a big one, a giant. So R.I.P. to Angie Stone and Al Troutwick.
And Gene Hackman, unbelievable actor. Gene Hackman, one of the greatest actors of all time as well.
Man,
passed under serious circumstances. Him, his wife, and his dog were all found dead.
Natural causes.
Yeah, it's weird.
That seems
suspicious.
With the door wide open. That now they're investigating because the door was wide open though.
Yeah, that seems suspicious. I heard about that. That seems very, like, the fact that the dog died too is weird. Yeah, that just seems very suspicious. That screams, look into this to me. I don't know. But RP to everybody. All the legends we talked about.
Yes.
All right.
Oh, it's the Oscars tonight. Shout out my main man, Adrian Brody. Don't know if y'all remember when I got on here and started going on a tirade monologue about The Brutalist, 3.5-hour movie. It didn't win Best Picture, but he won Best Actor. Adrian Brody, incredible performance. Holocaust victim who's also an architect, and it's about the American dream essentially and the dark parts of it. It's a really beautiful film, very long investment, but if you're stoned and you have the time, I definitely recommend watching it because it's one of the best pictures about the American dream from the perspective of an immigrant I've ever seen. It's fantastic.
Absolutely.
It's beautiful.
Oh, and Roberta Flack too. RP Roberta Flack.
RP.
Jeez, this was a crazy few weeks.
Yeah,
legend Roberta Flack over here. Shoot, freaking Lauryn Hill sampled one of my favorite Lauryn Hill songs from Roberta Flack.
That's how I found out about Roberta Flack, was through Lauryn Hill.
Exactly.
Oh man, what a bop, dude! Damn, that album, bro.
Man, even if you can't sing, man, you feel like you can sing when you hear that song.
If I could sing, y'all couldn't shut me up, Jay.
Oh,
for real.
man.
If I could sing, I would sing everything.
Exactly.
Y'all wouldn't be. Y'all wouldn't be able to shut me up. I sing everything now. I know my son tired of me. He be in trouble. I'm in here freestyling songs to him.
Rap seat in the basement for real in your house. Okay. All right, yo, that's the show, guys. Thank you guys for watching. 75 in the chat after this comeback win. Appreciate you guys for the support. Also, thank you for the super chat. Super chats are welcome. Helps keeps the lights on, the things going, helps pay for stuff. So we don't have to come out of pocket. So appreciate the super chats as well to help to keep the channel going and growing. All right. Salute the Ross says you're blocked.
Yeah, he says he's blocked.
I haven't blocked anybody, so I'm not sure how that happens.
If one of us was to do something by accident, it wasn't me, but I press stuff a lot by accident. Like I be trying to press something else and That doesn't affect him on here, right? Because I didn't block you, DeRoss. I don't think I did.
Yeah, I don't even, I have to go on the back end and figure out how to even unblock. Do we even have a block list? I don't even know. I have to figure
I don't even know.
I have to figure that out. I don't think I ever blocked anybody on YouTube ever.
Fritz, do you have any insight on that? Maybe Fritz can help.
Yeah, for sure.
Gamer Channel said he must have had an ass crack take. If that was true, I would have been blocked a long time ago.
Man,
would have blocked me a year ago.
Oh my gosh. Yo, you do content creation. At some point, you're gonna have an ass cake. That's just the way it goes, yo. If you go on the camera talking about your opinions, at some point your opinion is gonna be dumb. At some point, it's just the way it is.
Landry Shaman should start in the starting lineup.
It's all right, Lee. I was right there saying I could see that.
I was there though. I don't know about that.
Oh man, that one hurts.
So I can see. I see the logic there, but I don't know.
Landry Shaman Muse.
Oh, I always tell people my worst take ever was Frank Ntilikina.
Oh yeah.
Jay liked Frank. I remember back in the day, Jay was a Frank fan. I remember.
I definitely was.
Me too, Jay. Don't
I
worry.
remember that.
Shameful times. I don't talk about that no more, guys. I don't talk about that.
We've grown and moved on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know how upset? I know I won't bring back no PTSD, right? But I wasn't really in social media, Twitter at this time. Do you know how upset I was that the one job he had that he was supposed to be good at, he came in and sold? Like, I'm like, all right, let's get it.
Yeah.
Let's get it, Frank. Lock up. And he didn't even give no. It was like, pew, trade was by. It wasn't even no second move. It was his first move. Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
I remember like it was yesterday. That's how much it hurt me. I remember it was yesterday.
Yeah, I think my best radical take might have been Darius Garland over RJ Barrett. Might have been my best radical take. Might have been.
That was at the time. Yeah. It's very radical. He was a unanimous third pick.
Yeah,
RJ.
And I was arguing for Darius Garland, and everybody was calling me an idiot. But that might have been my best Hail Mary radical take that might have aged well like 7 years later. All right, yo. That's the show. Thank you guys for watching. Ebony, let them know where they can find you. Ebony, you muted, Ebony?
Mm-hmm. All the time. You can find me here after every post game. You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I think that's it. And pregame on Twitter at York Take Knicks, and occasionally for women's basketball, we have wrap-ups or whatever at Ballin' with the Queens. That's all my handles.
Timmy and Lee going out in the chat is cracking me up. All right.
I loved it. That's my guy, man.
Yeah, Lee, let them know they can find you.
He said, I hate love you. I ain't messing with you.
Find me on Twitter, @_Lee Escobedo, LEEESCOBEDO. I will not be here next week. I'll be here for the Tuesday game against Stone State, and then I'll be out for about 6 days. I'll be in San Antonio for the High School Boys Basketball Championship, watching the next group of lottery picks.
That's what's up. All right. You can find us at the KOT Show on Twitter, the Knick of Time Show on Instagram, and Knick of Time Show on Facebook as well. You can also, for YouTube fans, 2 YouTube people, you can find us on TikTok as well if you want to watch. Oh, shout out to Cater. Cater jumped in on the TikTok. Knicks Nation TV jumped in on the TikTok, says, hey, Jay, are you on OBS on TikTok? We'll talk about that behind the scenes. But shout out to you, Knicks Nation TV, who jumped onto TikTok. Also, shout out to you guys on YouTube as well. Gamer Channel, Gregory Lee. We surveyed 100 people. Real Fake Cousin Winston Ellis picks for Timmy. Brooklyn Butch, Nick Yak, Deras Raw Food, which might be your duplicate account. Glamour, Felicia, Fritz, Everybody rocking the show, the predicate. I appreciate all you guys and your support. All right. That is the show. Thank you guys for watching. And you guys know the drill, as always.
Shout out the worldwide west. Everywhere we go, we leave a worldwide mess.
It's a mess out here in these Knicks streets. That's the show. We out this mug. Peace.